Total old crop, new crop wheat export sales are 376,000 tons. Total export sales of corn are 2.46 million tons. Total soybean export sales are almost 877,000 tons. Soy meal is at 193,000 tons, and soy oil is over 25,000 tons. China is increasing its estimate for the amount of corn it imports by 25%. In China's April supply and demand report, it's now expecting to import 4 million tons based on the coming purchases from the United States through the Phase 1 trade agreement. The USDA issues its own supply and demand report today at 11 a.m. Expectations are for higher ending stocks for corn and soybeans. Running off prices at the Chicago Board of Trade, the May soybean contract is up 1 cent Thursday morning at $8.56 per bushel. May soy oil is up 15/100ths of a cent at 27.33 U.S. cents per pound. May soy meal is down $1.70 at $2.9110 per hundredweight. Corn futures are steady to higher Thursday morning, with the May contract up ½ cent at $3.30½ per bushel. Chicago oats are slightly higher, with the May contract up 1½ cents at $2.77. Wheat futures are higher Thursday morning. Chicago May is up 5 at $5.53. Kansas City May is up 8½ at $4.86½. And Minneapolis May is up 3 at $5.33. A reminder that the markets will be closed tomorrow for Good Friday. That's a look at the ICE futures and the Chicago markets for Thursday morning, April 9th. On the behalf of the Markets Farm team and our colleagues at Glacier Farm Media, we wish you a happy Easter. For Markets Farm in Winnipeg, I'm Glenn Halleck.
Proving you can't get too much of a good thing. There are no shortcuts to success. That's why New Holland engineered T6 Series tractors to outperform competitive tractors in every way so you can achieve higher productivity with less effort. More powerful engines, faster response from Tier 4B engines delivering 145 to 175 max boosted horsepower. Smooth speeds to match your applications. Choose one of 3 easy-to-use transmissions. Better visibility, unsurpassed view from the Horizon cab. More comfort and ease. Quiet, smooth ride with Comfort Ride cab suspension. Stop by Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John today to check out the T6 Series tractor from New Holland.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Moose Talks. A little later on, we're going to be talking with Laura Beamish. She is the program coordinator for the Fort St. John and area Better at Home. We're going to talk about how seniors around Fort St. John are doing during this pandemic and what you can do to help. To get us started, though, we've got Trevor Bolin here, the City Councillor with the City of Fort St. John. We're going to be talking a bit about Site C and his and Council's concerns about how BC Hydro is moving forward with the project during the pandemic. Good morning, Trevor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for taking some time to talk to us today. So the BC government has named the Site C dam construction an essential service. So work continues there during the pandemic. You've expressed some concerns in the past during council meetings about the construction project and what they're kind of doing, what their plan is going forward. Can you explain a bit what those concerns are?
For sure I can. You know what? And I mean, of course, we've seen this blow into a larger story than what I think it was ever intended to. And of course, comments that get made are always taken sometimes out of context when it's put on a larger scale. My concern for Site C, I mean, in the beginning, when this first started, council declared a state of emergency for Fort St. John, and the concern for Site C was that they didn't have a well laid out plan. So they'd been declared, declared essential a few days after that. So we knew that the project was going to continue. They did scale it back a little bit, but the concern was, they don't have enough or as large of a medical center that they would need. That would put pressure on our hospital. So, of course, the news story comes out and council's against it, or somebody on council says that it should be shut down. And that's I don't think that was the full intent of what it was. I think the full intent of what it was my comments that were even reflected in CBC yesterday, where, let's see what a plan is. If something were to go wrong, how can we ensure that the people working are safe, the project's safe, the people in the community are safe, and our services are very important. Essential services such as healthcare are taken care of and protected during this time.
So you say you've got concerns about their plan. They haven't really talked to you about a plan or said they have a plan in place, really. Is that correct?
Well, and you're right, Dub. And at that time, they hadn't. So, and I think that's where part of the emotions came from during that meeting, where comments were made. And we feel as council, we felt like we deserve to see a very well laid out plan. What happens if something goes wrong 6 kilometers from our downtown that is going to affect the city and it's going to affect the residences? And at that point in time, they didn't. Now, I got to give them credit because over the last few days, especially over the last week, BC Hydro has rolled out a fair amount of substantial plans that included, longer stays in the camp, longer times home on break. They've shut down a lot of the shuttle travel, which then protects both the community and the dam. Talking to a gentleman this morning who works out of the dam, they're doing temperature testing coming and going. They've got masks that are set up as far as the transportation goes. There's a band that they're wearing that shows, to get onto site, I've been cleared, I'm safe. They've reduced the amount of workers. Now, of course, in the story, we've seen that there's still concern from staff that feel that they're, working too close together. But I think that in light of this coming forward and in light of council being as concerned as they were at the meeting a week and a half ago or whatnot, I think that's what really triggered the fact that, we're concerned. We didn't just make it up. We heard about it from our residences and people reached out to the mayor and they reach out to council and these are their concerns as a community. And it's up to council to ensure that people feel that they're protected and that we've done something.
Now, on that note, this is sort of murky legal kind of standing because Site C is not our project. It's the province of British Columbia. They've as you said Hydro has reached out to try to kind of make things better and said, here's sort of the plan we have in place. I mean, do you as council, do you have any sort of recourse if their plan was unacceptable to you at any time, or if what they were doing was unacceptable? Is there something you could say and be like, we're not going to allow this to happen, you have to perhaps do something else? God forbid it ever comes to that, but is there something like that you can do, or are we sort of at the whim of BC Hydro and the BC government when it comes to this?
Dub, that's a great question. So, I mean, this goes back far, far before now. I'm gonna say it goes back to 2012, 2013. The mayor and the council at the time took a very hard stance on, we aren't in favor of the project, we aren't against the project, we just want to ensure that we're at the table for discussion. And we spent, the better part of an entire year meeting with the community, meeting with groups, having events in the parks where people, didn't feel like they had to talk to us, but it was a casual conversation as to what they feel should be the benefit to Fort St. John. And it was always about the fact that Site C and the project in its entirety should never leave us off in a worse place. It should always be the benefit to the community. So, the recourse we're looking for is communication. The recourse we're looking for is for, BC Hydro, the province itself, to ensure that Fort St. John and other surrounding communities. I mean, you've got, Area C that's just as close and encompasses, the project, that we're fully aware of what's going on. We're able to have a discussion as almost as a corporate partner, but as a municipal partner. It's not our project, but it greatly affects us. So, let's stop the press releases. Let's stop the media side of things, where we feel that we have to take it out that way in order to get some sort of traction or some sort of response. The dam is needed. We know that. It's not about whether you're for the project or against the project. It was what is the safest thing for the project? What is the safest thing for the folks that are working on it, both that are flying in and that are local because they're working on the project and coming back home? And what's the safest for the community and the protection of our services? And at the end of the day, that's all we've ever wanted. This isn't something new, and this doesn't change because of COVID. should make it that it becomes that much more relevant, and an action plan needs to be put in place that it can be dealt with immediately, not after the fact. So let's be proactive, not reactive, and work together on this.
Now, speaking of that, we've talked a bit about the plan that has sort of been revealed so far. As you said, less shuttles coming in and out of town, longer stays in camp, longer off times, or kind of off weeks, if you want to call it that, for workers who aren't in camp at the moment. What about the future? What if an outbreak were to happen? Have they revealed to you what their plan is then? Is just everyone going to have to go to the Fort St. John Hospital if it gets to that point? Are they going to fly people out kind of back to their homes where they're kind of from in order to kind of spread out this strain, if you want to put it that way? Have they made any indication as to what they'll do if, say, a worst case or a much worse scenario kind of happens to happen at Site C in regards to the pandemic?
You know, and not that I've seen, although, you know, the hospital here in Fort St. John was named as one of the integral provincial hospitals to deal with COVID-19. So with that the hopes are that the province is ramping up the desperately needed services that are there. I know some of the comments I made that went into a couple of different newspapers and online articles talked about the lack of ventilators. You know, we've already got an extremely busy hospital. We've got an extremely large amount of overworked nurses, overworked doctors, and that, I think, just plays that much more of a part, and that becomes that much more emotional because each of us has a friend that works at the hospital, or we're friends with some nurses or friends with the doctors. So, you know, we don't need to hear about the COVID side of it. We already hear how hard it is in order just for people to get day-to-day treatment at the hospital. So with it now being declared as one of the integral provinces or hospitals in the province, the hope is that the province, the health side of things, as well as BC Hydro, are working closely in order to ensure that what's needed at the hospital is going to be there. I know they do have plans as far as self-isolation. They do have plans as far as quarantining at Site C, and it's a matter of again, being open. Let people know what it is. I really got to commend them, BC Hydro and Site C and the project, the partners, as far as their communication the last couple of weeks, their updates as far as self-isolating, their updates as far as the plan. You know what? This is what I would have liked to see 2 weeks ago. But again, it's being proactive, and seeing it now, I think, makes people realize that communication is open so that the concerns can be dealt with. And for us, I think on council, I know for me especially, it's been a big change in the last couple of weeks since, you know, that concern originally came out to where we are now. And we can get some comfort in knowing that BC Hydro heard us, and they heard the community, they heard council, they've heard the mayor, and they're acting on that.
Councillor, do you agree with the BC government that Site C and the construction of Site C and the people who work there are essential services?
I think parts of it are essential services, yeah. I mean, and I think where the breakdown comes from is you know, people don't see that as being power right now, right? It's not gonna affect our power right now if the project gets shut down. The problem with Fort St. John, as we all know, and anywhere in the north, is that if you miss certain deadlines, as far as the project goes, with our seasons up here, you've got a 4 to 5 month building season that's going to push the project out. So to me, if they can continue doing it safely, if they continue updating the community and keeping council and the mayor in a loop as to what's going on, ensuring that they're working under federal and provincial regulations right now for COVID-19, not varying from that because they're essential. They still need to maintain that, you know, the distance is kept. Certain aspects of the project, I like that they're actually, you know, to a wristband system to ensure that people have been tested, have been checked. From that point on, continue the project, but continue the project as safe as possible.
All right, and the reason I brought that up, and I wanted to hear your opinion on that, is, of course, there are a large contingency of people, and Byron Stewart, your co-councillor included, who seem to think that the best option might be just to shut it down completely, that the best way to deal with this is send everybody home, they wait out the pandemic, and we resume construction kind of when it's safe to do so. It would reduce the possible strain on our healthcare system in here. It would just kind of make the town smaller, if you want to put it that way, and everyone would be at home and safe and able to, in theory, adequately socially distance themselves from, you know, other elements or whatnot. Why not do that? Why is that a bad idea in your view?
You know what, Dub? That's a great question, and I don't think it's a bad idea, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong to it. But when we look at quick serve restaurants, we look at fast food restaurants, closing their dining rooms for eat-in in British Columbia far before the province or the feds ever even brought it up. We see the social distancing in grocery stores. You go in and now you see where you can stand and where you can be to be safe. And that's not just about grocery stores or retail or quick serve restaurants or, contactless drive-throughs. I think the same sort of ideas need to be played out in all essential services. So this is declared an essential service. The needs for the power in the future are there. If the project were to shut down and we were to miss an entire season, and add how many millions of dollars onto additional costs, as well as then what happens when it's delayed by another couple of years, and we've seen reports that power is needed. I'm not a believer in shutting the project down. I'm not a believer in shutting the stores down. As we've seen, if you can mitigate the issue and be proactive about it, and don't just do the minimum that the province suggests. Don't just do the minimum that the feds suggest. Make sure that your concern is for your staff, for your customers, and for the integrity of the province. Because at the end of the day, British Columbia is leading the way in Canada as far as getting that curve to flatten. And I think that's something we need to be proud of. But I also think that's something that we need to ensure we continue. So shutting the project down is certainly one thing that they've probably looked at. I think that's a far stretch option as to, between now and then. What can be done now to ensure that people are safe? Listen to your staff, listen to the health authority, listen to the province, listen to the feds, ensure that you're staying one step ahead of that, and continue a project that can work and can function in these times.
All right, Councillor Bolin, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much for coming on the show today to talk a bit about this important issue.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. All right, we'll be right back on Moose Talks with Laura Beamish right after this.
Social distancing at a time like this is important, as well as supporting your local businesses. Find amazing products from your favorite local shops in Fort St. John at moosefm.ca and get it delivered right to your door. Beauty products from your favorite local shops. Get $50 towards your next service from Night Owl Beauty Bar for only $25. They offer services like cosmetic teeth whitening and much more. Plus $50 to spend at Vampire Tattoo for only $25. Shop in the comfort of your own home using the Moose Market at moosefm.ca.
COVID-19 requires each of us to help prevent further spread of this dangerous virus. Everyone is at risk, especially those with pre-existing health conditions or who are older. When you stay home and practice physical distancing, you help protect the people who are most vulnerable. Please, do your part. For information, visit gov.bc.ca/COVID-19 or call 1-888-COVID-19. A message from the Government of British Columbia.
Armor Lubricants is taking precaution to protect their customers and their employees while maintaining a high level of dedicated service. They are staying open and will continue to supply the products that many essential services rely on to keep their equipment running and maintained. To ensure that Armored Lubricants can continue to supply their customers with the products they need, they will be accepting orders over the phone and over email. They will also deliver anywhere you need them to. To place your order, call 250-787-0415 or email orderdesk@armorlubricants.com. Working together, we will get through this.
Are you craving pizza or full-course meal? Oleo's Pizza is still open for pickup or takeout. Call Oleo's Pizza 250-262-3282 or skip the dishes for your favorite dishes today. Open 7 days a week to serve you better.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
Welcome back to Moose Talks. I'm your bud, the Dub, the host of Moose Talks. We're joined now by Laura Beamish, who is the program coordinator, with Fort St. John and area Better at Home. How's it going today, Laura?
It's going pretty good, Dub.
Excellent. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the show with us. So why don't we start, first of all, with what Better at Home is. People might remember that a few weeks ago, we bought some toilet paper. We auctioned it off. We gave the toilet paper and the money to Better at Home. But in case people have forgotten, why don't you tell us a bit about what it is? What do you guys do at Better at Home?
Well, in normal times, what we do is we bring housekeeping, friendly visitors, um, transportation to appointments, that type of thing, to seniors in and around Fort St. John. Right now, we've kind of changed what our basket of services are. We're going with wellness calls, grocery shopping and pickup, kind of whatever people need to try to keep them safe and at home. And we're just working with members of the community and different organizations in and around Fort St. John.
Okay. As I understand it, as you say, kind of before this, the frequency that you would do these things at was like once, a couple times a month. Obviously, that frequency has increased as you've kind of expanded your services. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when we started, or like in normal times, what we do with housekeeping, we're in maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month, depending on the situation. Right now, we're trying to kind of check in on people once a week, maybe twice a week, lots of phone calls. We're seeing some people's mental health is being affected by being isolated or worried. So then we try to make more of an effort to call them or have somebody drop something off to them. Just kind of to stay in touch and give them somebody in the community that they can talk to or that cares.
Are you a primarily volunteer run kind of situation, or do you have a lot of staff that kind of helps out as well, or both?
Well, right now I'm running it from my dining room. We have an office normally in North Peace Seniors Housing. There are 2 girls that are, we're still doing laundry for some of the people that depend on us. Instead of doing it, we're doing door to door. We're picking it up outside their door, dropping it off outside their door. Because there's just no other options for them. Physically, they're not able to do it. So we've been doing that for those that don't have anyone else to help them. And then we also there coordinate the grocery program. Northview Seniors Housing was kind enough to give us a whole room. So all those groceries, including the toilet paper from Moose FM, everything like that are all, we have a great room there and a big shop where we're able to store everything. And then we are able to draw from all the donated products before we have to go buy things for the seniors. So it's working out really well.
I see. And where do you find out about the seniors who are on the program? How do they become a part of it to get these visits, to get these kind of needs, as you say, whether it's a visit just to talk to somebody or if they need like some essentials like food, toiletries, that sort of thing? How do you find out about where these people are?
So we actually have 185 seniors on our program normally, but we've kind of put it out there. We have a Seniors Hotline, and people can call it, and 6 days a week. Actually, we answer it whenever. And I can give you the number, is 250-793-5958. That's the number they call. We're also encouraging people, though, to go through BC 211. There are 24 different hub communities across BC that are kind of designated to receive all the information for their area. Fort St. John is actually the hub for the North. So anyone in the North that needs help and calls BC 211, the referral comes to me, and then I contact the community to meet their needs. So BC 211 will hook up a senior with whatever services they need, and also volunteers can go through them, and they are doing criminal record checks on a really quick turnover right now.
I see. Okay. And you said, and also that the Seniors Hotline kind of accomplishes a similar thing. Like people can get a hold of you and say, hey, I know someone who needs something, or I need something. Can you help us out?
Yep. And the number is 793-5958.
5958. Thank you for pointing that out to us.
No problem. No, actually, it's really good if they can just call directly. And then I have quite a few actually that are calling me every day just to have a little chat. And then we can arrange grocery pickup, we kind of work with whatever the senior wants. If they're able to pay with email money transfer, we'll take a personal check. If they're in some of the housing, seniors housing places, they're actually working and they're at just putting it on their rent. If we can get the food that's donated, we have a few that are lower income. We're using the food that we have stored. Plus, we have a program that we work with always with the Salvation Army, and we're able to bring groceries every month to seniors in and around the community that need a little help at the end of the month. And we are upping that service. They're really available for anything we need as we go. So we're continuing to do that.
Okay, dope. Well, I was going to end this off by asking, what can people do to help then if they want to donate maybe cash, or they want to donate food, or even though it might be difficult, can they donate their time right now? What can they do?
Well, right now we're just going to start the social component of what our plans are. So in the next couple weeks, I'm calling all the seniors, seeing if they're interested in having like a phone person, a phone buddy, somebody that can call, they can have a chat with, just a wellness check. I think as we go forward and the longer this goes on, I think you're going to see people that are feeling really isolated. I'm worried about depression, that type of thing. So if you have a criminal record check, you can call this number and we can kind of put you on a list and maybe match you up with a senior. Or you can go through BC 211 and get a crim check. We're taking grocery store gift cards right now. And we're willing, like that really helps us out, because sometimes it's hard for the seniors to pay or find a way to pay. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of groceries right now, so but going forward, if this goes on a long time, I'm sure those will be depleted, and we will post on our Facebook page what we need, as will the caremongers, who are really good, and the Peace Senior Connecting Care. But people, check on your neighbor. If you have a senior that's a neighbor, see if they need something. Call them, knock on their door, and stand back and ask them if they need you to pick something up at the store. And phone your grandma. See how your grandmas are. People really appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, all good things to know about, and we'll make sure we repeat that number, those numbers again at the end of the show if you want to get involved and help out. Laura, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us today, and for helping us find out more about how seniors are doing and how we can help out. I really appreciate you doing this.
Thanks, Dub. Have a good day.
You too. All right, we'll be right back to wrap things up right here on Moose Talks. During these times, it's important to wash your hands. Talking about hands, McKenna Staff Services presents Put a Ring on It. Every weekday, we will post a picture of a hand on our website at moosefm.ca. All you have to do is guess the occupation of the person that hand belongs to, and if you get it correct, you qualify to win a diamond ring, courtesy of Carter's Jewelers. Put a Ring on It is presented by Carter's Jewelers. Enter to win at moosefm.ca under contests.
Who's a good doggy? Do you have a pet that can do a cool trick or just be adorable? Submit a picture of your pet for your chance to win a $100 gift card to North Peace Veterinary Clinic with Pet of the Month at moosefm.ca under contests.
At Complete Safety Services, they specialize in, you guessed it, safety. They provide field safety advisors and certified medics with fully equipped MTCs and trucks that are maintained to the highest standards. They can prepare companies for their COR certification, write safety programs, manage ISN and ComplyWorks. Not only that, but Complete Safety Services now offers traffic control, hotshotting, and pilot car services. Complete Safety Services, striving to ensure a safe and healthy working environment on 100th Street in Fort St. John and online at completesafety.ca.
If you're looking for hassle-free internet services, call the Peace Region Internet Society today. With coverage throughout most of the Peace, PRIS can get you connected quickly without the hassle of contracts or bundles. Visit PRIS.ca or call 1-800-768-3311 for more information.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
All right, we're back to wrap things up on Moose Talks. Our thanks again to Councillor Bolin for stopping by to talk a bit about Site C and what they're doing moving forward. sure we'll hear more and more about that as the day goes on. Days go on, I should say. And Laura Beamish for stopping by to talk about Fort St. John Seniors. Is she, of course, with Better at Home, the Fort St. John and area Better at Home, I should say. I want to repeat those phone numbers again, because she said if you want to help out in some way, maybe by perhaps becoming a volunteer or you know someone who needs help, there's a couple of important numbers. So the Seniors Hotline, that's local. That phone number again is 250-793-5958. As well, she said you could phone BC 211. They'll do a criminal records check, and they do it very quickly so that you become a volunteer and perhaps someone you could become someone who a senior talks to on the phone. You could be a friend, that sort of thing. So there's lots of different ways you can help out. And again, if you want to donate something, they're looking for gift cards for grocery stores so that when they need those groceries, they'll be able to go out and get it. That's it for this episode of Moose Talks, though. I'm Warren Dub Craig, and thanks again to Adam, who's pressing the buttons off to the side. Stay safe, everyone.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.
Energetic Country.